Hello, this is Bill Steffen. You know what I just realized? It's 6 months until Christmas. We're June 25th. Count 6 months, it's December the 25th. Isn't that amazing? Where does time go to? But indeed, we got a lot of hot summer weather in the meantime, and we're in the midst of a heat wave. Take a look at this. This is at the South Haven Lighthouse. There's a picture there that's taken by the GLERL camera. GLERL stands for Great Lakes Environmental Research Lab. And it shows the channel there. You can see what looks like a tiki hut or something moving along the channel there. I want to show you temperatures over on the right side. The temperature changes when the wind changes in direction. And this happens quite a bit at the lakeshore. 2 o'clock, the temperature was in the upper 70s. At 3 o'clock, the wind had turned east-southeast, so it was blowing off the land. And the temperature rose 6 degrees to 85. And then at 4 o'clock, the temperature went back to the south, coming in off the water, and the temperature dropped from 85 to 77. So it's interesting to see that kind of roller coaster technique as the wind changes there. Water temperature of Lake Michigan is certainly warming up. We'll talk more about that later, but here's a look at some high temperatures from Tuesday. Detroit at 95, Kalamazoo and Ionia 94. Grand Rapids topped out at 93 degrees, and Benton Harbor the same. Kalamazoo, Battle Creek, and Holland at the airport at 94. The Holland State Park, by the way, was just 75. So look at the difference across Holland from 94 at the airport, the regional airport, to 75 there by the water with the wind coming in from the southwest. A couple other interesting temperatures here. Muskegon Beach was 80. And that was a warm day for them. They oftentimes, when temperatures are in the low to mid 90s in inland areas, it's only in the upper 70s at Muskegon. I wanted to point out Manistee, which is at the north end of Lake Michigan. Yesterday, their temperatures were in the 60s because they had a due south wind that was coming all the way down the length of Lake Michigan. Then a cold front went through, and the wind went to the northwest. And because the wind was coming off the land, the temperature was 15 degrees warmer in the middle of the afternoon than it was today. And I thought that's kind of interesting. You get a cold front coming through and it warms up by 15 degrees. You get that in the lee of the Rocky, or in the lee of the Appalachian and Rocky Mountains sometimes as well. I've seen a place like Roanoke, Virginia, actually warm up when a cold front comes through. The sun comes out and the temperature starts to warm as you get some downslope warming there. Munising, north wind off of Lake Superior, had a high temperature of just 63. They were in the upper 80s yesterday when the wind was out of the south. Some places had some rain today. Got some rainfall totals to share with you too as well. Low temperatures for Tuesday. South Haven Airport at 80. Benton Harbor 79. Holland also at 79. And you can see temperature got a little cooler once you moved in some inland areas because the wind got a little lighter. And as it did, that allowed the cooler air to settle near the ground. So Battle Creek had a low of 73 and Sturgis 72, the Muskegon Pier 69, and Manistee up there at the north end of Lake Michigan, they managed to make it down into the upper 50s. Now let's take a look at some rainfall totals from the day. Look at Battle Creek. They had over 2 inches of rain, and most of that came in an hour during the afternoon. You can see those cumulonimbus clouds off to the south of Grand Rapids. Parkview, which is a WMU gauge that's on the west side, southwest side of Kalamazoo, had about 1.5 inches. The Kalamazoo Nature Center at 72 hundredths. Detroit had 2/3 of an inch. The Kalamazoo Airport about 1/2 inch. Just a trace in Grand Rapids and absolutely nothing at my house where it's getting pretty darn dry right now. All right, we're going to take time out now and thank our sponsors. And here is Michelle.
Shout out to Complete Care Concierge LLC, the fast, efficient, and affordable cleaning service serving all of West Michigan with residential, business, and special project cleans. 616-264-1397.
When your home needs help, you might not know where to start. Why not ask Ace? We're always here to help with Ace Handyman Services. Our talented craftsmen handle everything from drywall and carpentry to doors and kitchens. We're the neighbors you trust to get the job done right. Let's get started. Book your handyman appointment today. Ace Handyman Services, bringing helpful to your home.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Here's look at storm reports from this Tuesday. Not a big severe weather day. There were no tornadoes in the U.S. Wind damage reports at 40, a little bit less than an average June day. And you can see there are a number of those blue dots in the state of Michigan. If you look over toward the right, you can see that trees and wires were down at Holt, Novi, Katy, Bloomfield Hills, Livonia, and Flushing. Nothing major, just basically some trees and power lines down. By the way, how many of you know about Novi? Novi, how they got its name, it's kind of interesting. That was stagecoach stop number 6. And so they had a sign there that said NOVI for number 6. And so as the town grew up around there, they called it Novi. Kind of interesting. I think we're going to take a look right now at severe weather for Wednesday. There's a slight risk from the Florida Panhandle, Pensacola area up through most of Georgia, South Carolina, into North Carolina. And then there's a large level 1 marginal outlook from Montana all the way to the East Coast. And I'll read you what SPC says here. The Storm Prediction Center says a mid-level shortwave trough will move from the Central Plains to the western Great Lakes Wednesday afternoon and evening. Stronger and more organized storms in the area could have some tornado threat, particularly if any backflow can develop. Currently, the threat is too low for higher severe weather probabilities. This map will be updated at 2 a.m. I'm going to stay up and see if I can attach that to the blog here, or maybe send out a Facebook Twitter post or X post, just to give you an idea of what's going on. But if you take a look at the north edge of that marginal risk area, that's pretty much Interstate 96. So a small severe weather threat here during the day today. I still think the greatest threat we would have would be very isolated wind damage. And then we move ahead to Thursday, and the front doesn't move much, so the marginal area continues over West Michigan. And SPC says western Great Lakes, strong instability will support the threat for some damaging wind gusts. So we'll certainly keep an eye on things over the next couple of days. Not a major severe weather threat, but something to certainly bear watching here. All right, let's move on here. Take a look at rainfall and look at all that rain that's going to fall. Look at New Mexico. I mean, New Mexico is a dry state, but we continue to have tropical activity off the coast of Mexico, and the south wind on the right side of that system continues to pump moisture up into New Mexico, where they're getting diurnal, mainly afternoon and evening showers and thunderstorms that develop. And then from Nebraska into Wisconsin and even upper Michigan, that red area there is where there'll be over 2 inches of rain in 3 days. So we're going to keep an eye on things. As we zoom in, the next graphic will show you the Michigan map here. And it looks like we'll get anywhere from a quarter to 1 inch of rain. And this is over about a 3-day period with the heavier amounts of rain over there in Wisconsin. So, keep an eye out. We will be getting some thunderstorms scattered about. And of course, there's always that threat of lightning as well. All right, moving ahead here, we've got the tropical update for you. Oh, in the Atlantic, they've actually named that little tropical depression out there has become a tropical storm. It's ways to Bermuda. It's not bothering anybody. And I bet it lasts as a tropical storm for about 12 hours before it continues to move northeast into colder water and falls apart. This is a storm that in olden days probably would never have gotten the name. But anyhow, on the west coast of Mexico, things are hopping a little bit. That red X there indicates where there's about a 70% chance of a tropical storm developing. So it's not a sure thing, but we think something will be there in anywhere from 3 to 5 days. That will be called Flossie, and off the coast, but not far enough off that it shouldn't leave some gusty winds and some heavy rainfall along the coastline. And people in places like Acapulco will certainly have to keep an eye on that storm. It will turn to the northwest and then west and eventually die out over colder water. Okay, taking a look at some headlines here for you. Continued warm weather, but not quite as hot as it's been around here. We do have that chance of a shower or thunderstorm, but not an all-day rain. Heat index about 90 during the afternoon, so that's hot, but it's not 100 to 105 like it's been. And light winds, and that's a good thing. We've had some breezy conditions around here. Okay, we'll take a look at the lake forecast for you. I'll look at some of the temperatures, water temperatures here. Winds are going to be east of 5 to 10 knots. So it'll be light waves, generally 6 inches to a foot. Taking a look at the water temperatures that we have here, we have 74 at Duck Lake, 70 at Muskegon, 74 at Hoffmaster, Grand Haven at 73, Holland State Park 68, Saugatuck at 70, and look at Reed's Lake. That actually touched 83 at about 3 o'clock in the afternoon and then fell back to 81. So the inland lakes are warm, plenty warm enough for the kids to go swimming and really enjoy these beautiful freshwater lakes that we have here in West Michigan. Today's weather looks like this. We'll be seeing temperatures in the low 80s during the afternoon. So instead of 93, it'll be about 82 or 83. It'll be a little bit of a gradient from north to south. It may hold in the 70s from US 10 to the north. Humidity at 65%, a touch more humid than it's been, and winds mainly east, though I do think the lake breeze is going to overcome that. So if you're right at the Lake Michigan shoreline, the winds will start out from the east and then may shift into the west or northwest as the day heats up a little bit here. Some high temperatures across the area for today. As you can see, we got about low 80s for Grand Rapids, mid 80s for Kalamazoo, Battle Creek, Three Rivers. Look for temperatures to be a bit cooler near Lake Michigan, but not drastically colder. While we make the low 80s in Grand Rapids, it'll still reach 75 in South Haven. Another beautiful day to spend at the lakeshore, enjoying the shops and maybe getting a bite to eat. Watch out for a stray shower, but most of the time the weather should be fine. On the right side there, you've got the temperatures for upper Michigan, and Manistee at 64, where the wind's going to turn more south again off the water. Temperature at 69 at Marquette. And then we move ahead and take a look at the high temperatures for Thursday. Thursday's high temperatures will be a little bit warmer once again. I'm going for upper 80s in inland areas, 81 for South Haven, 80 for Ludington at the airport there. Cooler, though, up in the UP, where even some of the inland areas will be only in the 60s here during the day on Thursday. Long-range outlook going out to Sunday calls for temperatures to be in the low 80s tomorrow, mid to even upper 80s here, and then maybe even 90 by Sunday. We do have chances of a shower thunderstorm each day through Saturday, and you can see the percent chance. If you got some activities to do on Saturday, the chance of rain's at 30%. I always tell people to think of it as a chance of it not raining at 70%, which is better, and it should stay dry on Sunday, the way it looks right now with temperatures approaching 90. And each of these days it will be just slightly cooler at Lake Michigan. The 8 to 14 day outlook continues to give us average weather here. Average high temperatures are low 80s, average low temperatures are low 60s. You can see the below average area in Arizona and New Mexico, where there'll be more cloud cover than usual, but above average temperatures expected in the Pacific Northwest, in the southern U.S. into Florida, and very comfortable conditions here in Michigan. And the rainfall outlook, we're in the average category here, and we will take that. It's a little dry at my house. I hope they steer a shower in my direction here, but all in all, a pretty good weather pattern as we close out June and enter the month of July. So, Michelle, pretty good weather pattern up here in Michigan. I'm sure it's been hot down in Alabama, but not.
It has been, but it's been good.
Mm-hmm.
On this day in 1850, Grand Rapids adopted its city's seal, and it was designed by the Grand Rapids city clerk.
Who was Aaron Turner? I know an Aaron Turner. He works for WGVU. Aaron, somebody's watching this that's going to tell you Bill Steffen mentioned you.
I wonder if it's any relation.
I think this. We were on a streak of really nice people named Aaron Turner in this town. There's probably others out there. So if you know an Aaron Turner, tell him that we know that he's appreciated.
It looks pretty standard. There's the scales of justice and eagle. I don't think they overthought it. There was no citywide competition, no finalists, no voting. It was just, well, we need a seal. I'll come up with something.
Wow. And there's the Motu Viget again. I don't know if that's the way you pronounce it or not. We have the Motu parking in Grand Rapids here. Interesting. 1850, that goes back before the Civil War.
I don't remember what that means. I know we talked about it.
Yeah.
Motu get
Well,
means
we'll look it up.
strength and activity.
Strength and activity.
Is
Okay.
also the name of a sparkling wine and spirits company based in Grand Rapids.
Oh, no kidding. All right. Wow.
All right.
Very
Well,
cool.
that gives us more to follow up on later.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's see what else. And the first governor's walk across the Mackinac Bridge was on this day in 1958. There were 68 people in the first one, including the governor, G. Menon Williams, who is pictured there. And then they moved it to Labor Day, and lots of people have done it since.
So have they done it every year since 1958? I keep
That's a
asking
good
you
question.
questions you don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Wow.
I don't know. I've done it.
I don't think they did it during COVID.
Okay, yeah, probably.
Yeah, right.
I want to say I did it when I was about 10. I did it in 11th grade. I did it once with Dan. So 3 times that I can think of.
Wow, I've never done it.
It's pretty fun.
Yeah, where do you? I mean, where do all those people stay? I mean, I mean, it's just. I mean, imagine that's. I mean, there's like many thousands of people up there.
The many lovely hotel, motel, and camping options in the area.
There are. I guess that's so. But yeah, G-Men and Williams wear those bow ties, so you can see them there on the side. Interesting. So I was June 25th. Huh? Okay.
Yeah. And June 25 to 27, the first inaugural state games of Michigan were held in Grand Rapids, and there still is a state games of Michigan, and that is going on now.
Is that in Grand Rapids?
I can't quite tell. I do know that the Nodos of Nodos Restaurant is heavily involved in the bocce ball competition.
Oh, okay. Bocce ball's fun. I won the celebrity bocce ball one year.
Well, this is for all ages and abilities, so you can go compete in it next year.
Yeah, I was going to say I don't know if they have a celebrity category or not, but and I was not only lucky, but the fact that there was hardly anybody else in the competition made it.
They have a senior citizen category, and you can enter that.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe that's fun. I liked all those outdoor games in the winter. The Italians were really good at that. Where I was growing up in Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
There was an Italian family, and I mean, every Sunday afternoon there was croquet and badminton and bocce ball, and yeah, fun place to be.
So there's an opening ceremony, and it's a whole thing. Lots of sports, and all ages and abilities are invited to take part.
Figures from figure skating to paintball. Wow.
Mm-hmm. Those are 2 that are coming up.
Oh, that's an interesting combination. How would you combine those 2? Combine paintball and figure skating. That would be... Oh, wow.
All right. And one of the claims to inventing T-ball was on this day in 1956 in Albion, Michigan. And Jerry Sikarsky, probably?
Sikarsky, yeah.
Says that he invented it to help facilitate young kids playing the game.
Yeah. You ever play T-ball?
No, I played Alpine Township soccer when I was 6. Our team was the Four Seasons, and we were terrible. Very
seldom did I ever play it, but I did play it a few times. We used to take chalk, and we had an entire 3-story brick wall of the gym at one of the schools in Wilmette where I grew up, and we would outline a chalk strike zone, and then throw pitches there. And then if you hit the ball on a fly a certain distance, then you got a single or a double or a triple or a home run. So that's what we did. And we played with the tennis ball. So if you really connected, and we had a pitcher named Grable Weber, who was the nephew of Dick Weber, the bowler, and the cousin of Pete Weber, the bowler, professional bowler. And Grable was amazing. I think he pitched for the University of Kansas or something like that. But
wow,
man, I mean, he would throw fastballs in, and I could barely see him by the time they were bouncing off the wall. But we had fun. A lot of fun.
On this day in 1951, the first color TV broadcast.
So I was alive on that date. Wow.
And CBS was first. It was a variety show called Premiere. Do you remember that show?
No.
Most people didn't see it because the color was incompatible with the black and white TV sets.
Right.
And CBS was in kind of an arms race with RCA to see who could get theirs approved and going first. And RCA ended up winning. But at first it was a really tough sell because the color TVs were expensive to make. The pictures weren't great at first. And then it would make all the black and white sets that everybody owned obsolete.
Yeah, and I remember we had a black and white TV. It was about a 10-inch thing, the first thing that we had in the house. And it was big, but the screen was relatively small. And if it stopped working, you had to take the tubes out and take them down to Walgreens and plug the tubes into a machine that would tell you if they were good or bad. If you had a bad tube, then you had to go, you just got a different tube from Walgreens.
I even remember we had a black and white TV growing up in the kitchen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. They were still around. And especially if you're doing something else and only listening to the sound. I mean, you could buy, I remember my dad buying a black and white TV for, I don't know, for $50 or something like that. It wasn't terribly expensive. But yeah, that's true. And everybody remembers The Wizard of Oz, which started out in black and white and then became color. Mm-hmm. As soon as they landed in Oz.
And on this day in 1950, the Korean War begins. When North Korea invaded South Korea, Team North Korea was the North Koreans, the Soviet Union, and China. Team South Korea was the South Korea, the United Nations Command, and the USA. And it was a proxy war for the Cold War, which lasted until July 1953 with an armistice, but no peace treaty. There were as many as 3 million deaths, including over 36,000 U.S. soldiers.
Right, and a lot of them, again, were medical, people that succumb to viruses and bacteria and whatnot. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and look at that. After 75 years, it's the Korea Peninsula is still a problem.
Mm-hmm. And if you're watching this and you're a service member, thank you for your service.
Mm-hmm. Remember MASH on TV with Alan Alda and Harry Morgan and.
Before my time, but didn't we talk about someone from Grand Rapids being on that show?
Let's see.
Or do I have him confused with something else?
Ryan Wilson, was he? No, it was Radar O'Reilly was from Ottumwa, Iowa, if I remember right. And Ryan Wilson, who was from the Office maybe, grew up in Wilmette, went to my high school. Yeah. Of course, when you go to a high school with almost 5,000 people, there's got to be a couple of people that become famous out of it.
Other famous stashes from Bill's high school were John Stossel.
Yes, John Stossel went to my high school. And he's a year older than me. Ann Compton, a reporter for many years, ABC, I believe.
The person that voiced the Little Mermaid, I think.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Rock Hudson, Charlton Heston went to my high school. And Heston, it was an interesting story. He had no place to go. His parents got divorced, so his mother was working, so he had nothing to do after school, and he wanted to join the football team. And they had already wrapped up the football team and everything, so he's wandering down the hall, and they were putting on a play. So he decided to wander in there and became this great, amazing actor. And as I mentioned before, once or twice, I have a letter from him somewhere in my file here.
And here's another beautiful photo from Matthew.
Yes, indeed. Beautiful with the sun there in the distance and the waves at Lake Michigan.
There's possibly no better spot.
Sunsets, I think, than Lake Michigan. What did you say?
Mm-hmm. I was just going to say there's no better spot than a sunset on a lake in Michigan in the summer.
It's really a beautiful place to be. We go through a long, dark winter without a whole lot of daylight here and a lot of lake effect clouds, but summers are beautiful. Mm-hmm. People come here on vacation.
Mm-hmm. And another one of how that evening looked.
The sun just set. How about that? Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can see look at the varying colors that you see there as the sunlight is reflected off the molecules of air there. Matthew, thanks for the pictures. And hey, I want to tell everybody that we do have a chance of a thunder shower, but not an all-day rain. It should be a pretty good day out there. Join us tomorrow, and we'll talk more about what's ahead here for the coming weekend. It should be a warm one, and most of the weekend looks like it will turn out to be dry at this point. Thanks again for staying with us till the end.